Um, I have a rather large chip on my shoulder that resides right here, and it's called Super Bowl 40. I effing hated the Steelers through the Ben Roethlisberger area, and it's funny because he'll come up again in this show. Um, I hated that whole era. I felt like even the refs apologized for that game and the bad calls that they made. Bill Levy may rot in hell when you finally get there. I felt like they wanted to give the bus a title on his way out. And, they're one of those classic football teams, and we're a team that we're South Alaska, basically. Um, on paper, we won that game. Watching that game and the terrible calls that were made against the touchdowns that were called. Anyway, it's a long history that resulted in me hating the Steelers. Right now, they are my second favorite team in the sport. And this has a lot to do with Mike Tomlin. I've watched him take crap from the media as recently as 2-3 weeks ago about how he's really weak on wide receivers. They always end up being divas and leaving. And that's not necessarily untrue, but it's not necessarily his fault either. I think there's a reason that he is the longest tenured coach in the league. If I was starting a team right now from scratch, Mike Tomlin is my head coach. That's where I want to start. And I'm going to build from here. Okay? He has never been one to he's the Barry Sanders of coaches, dude. He goes and wins, he just hands the ball to the ref. He never does the spike.
Yeah.
He never
He,
has
he
that moment.
yeah, he's not doing the rowboat coordinated touchdown dance.
Exactly. And he maintains his I mean, he's like, do you remember Rocky Four where uh the Russian dude like is all business all the time? That's Mike Tomlin. Like,
Mhm.
can't rattle this guy. Whatever's
I
going to, you can't tell if they're winning or losing by looking at him on the sidelines. All right, so here's where his brilliance comes in. Okay, he goes out at the beginning of the season, takes advantage of Denver, just takes advantage. Who wasn't taking advantage of Denver the last 2 years?
I
Mike,
was gonna say, yeah.
yeah, give me that guy. That guy's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'll take him right now. He's going to be our starter. And then 2 weeks later, he makes a deal with he fleeces the Bears, absolutely fleeces the Bears out of giving up a guy that could be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
So now he's got two cards in his hand. And he's already promised the starting job to Russell Wilson. He does say there's going to be a battle in camp for whatever. And Russell Wilson ultimately ends up winning that. Well, due to circumstances outside of the control of these gentlemen, Russell Wilson gets a calf injury, has to sit down. This is perfect for Mike Tomlin because he's like, guess what? I already did the work. I got
Right.
another guy that I can plug in. That's brilliant, first of all. Justin Fields goes out there and he loses 2 games and wins three, right? So they're 4-3 or 4-2 right now.
I think they're 5-2 now.
Okay, 5-2. So he wins.
Oh no, 4-2. They had to buy you, right?
Okay. So what do we know thus far? All right. We know that Russell Wilson is now back from injury. He's maintained his professional decorum by saying you don't lose your job to injury. But this is where the true brilliance of Mike Tomlin comes in. He has to be looking at the schedule saying, okay, we got a reeling Jets team coming here. I get a chance to start my starting quarterback. I get the Giants next week. Then I have a bye. And then look at their schedule. It's all of their division games. He's going to know exactly what he has in both of these quarterbacks by the time the difficult part of the schedule comes around. And I just I look at this game in particular. The crowd was booing Russell Wilson as they announced him as the starting quarterback for this game, and they were chanting Justin Fields. How do you think that makes the guy feel? Russell Wilson has been this guy that's got duck feathers. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
he
doesn't
should
give
have
a
played
fuck.
for Oregon. It just rolls right off of him, and no matter what, dude. And like, I don't understand because this guy's taken more crap And reason rightfully so on a lot of it. I mean, he brings a lot of this shit on himself. And he went out there and he dominated Aaron Rodgers. And this is a class. This is one of my favorite matchups, dude. I was like, yes, this is like the old days, just two different teams, you know.
Right.
Rodgers, Wilson, and guess what? Rodgers didn't even look like he belonged on the field
Yeah.
with Russell.
Rogers is yeah, he's Donald Trump out there. Like
Wilson.
he's past it.
The Jets haven't scored 37 points in a single game. Russell Wilson comes out in week 7 after not playing for over a year and puts up 37.
No, like and I can say because I have been one of those Russell Wilson doubters. I certainly wasn't after the first couple of times, but like I remember, you'll remember this as a Seahawks fan as well. When Russell Wilson was a rookie, the year before, Seattle traded for a Packers backup that was supposed to be their franchise guy, a guy named Matt Flynn. And I remember Matt Flynn was great. When he came in to spell Rodgers and Favre, like he would always play really consistently, never really turned the ball over, had a cannon, had good field vision. And I was like, Flynn is going to be the guy in Seattle. And I was like really excited to see him play. And then right before the season starts, I heard, oh, Flynn lost the quarterback battle in camp to this rookie from Wisconsin. And oh, yeah, by the way, he's 5'10". I'm like, what the fuck is Seattle doing? I thought that was the worst decision that could have ever been made in football. And then Russell Wilson, he didn't care. He doesn't give a shit what people think about him. He goes out there, he plays his game. And I think he struggled in Denver. And I honestly, I don't think it was because of him. And you especially look at that second season in Denver, Russell Wilson was playing good statistical football. It was just the rest of the team that wasn't getting a ton. And of course, it's hard to get along with Sean Payton. I think that's fair to say for most people. He's a very intense person, but you go like you said, you go to Mike Tomlin, he doesn't care about your personality. He doesn't care about off field. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He cares, can you play if I put you on the field? And he finds guys who can do it. And
Well,
goddamn,
and what do we know
and
historically about Russell Wilson? When he has a good defense, he can do some magical things. Now,
he wins Super Bowls. Yeah.
we also know that the uh the offensive line for Pittsburgh is ranked around 23rd in the league. And what offensive line has Russell Wilson ever made look better? None. I mean, the guy, he is short. He gets a lot of passes batted down. It's hard for him to see over the guys in the pocket. His best years have been when he's outside the pocket. He was hanging and throwing dimes on these. I mean, seriously, some of those throws were like, I was like, dude, I miss you
Uh,
a little bit.
I mean, like I said, Russell Wilson's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Maybe the shortest Hall of Fame quarterback that's in there.
So it's
Um,
funny that you said something a second ago. You said Super Bowl. And I thought about that last as I was putting the notes in for the show and what we're going to talk about at the top of the show here. And I was like, ooh, they got to play Baltimore twice. Still, these are going to be fun games, dude.
I
These
was
are
gonna
going to
say
be fun games.
going into the season, I'd have picked Baltimore in both of those games. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I'm not gonna make picks now because I'm gonna let the injuries and stuff kind of settle before I make my selections. But like, yeah, dude, Mike Tomlin, there is a reason he has never had a losing season.
One last thing. While I hated watching the Russell Wilson press conference, I watched the Mike Tomlin press conference and he he spiked the football, dude. He spiked the football. He ended the press conference when they asked him about the decision to start the quarterback. He goes, "Well, this is why I'm highly compensated. Bye." And he got up and
Right?
left. It was awesome, man. I was like,
Yeah, and then he puts on his like light up sunglasses and then like yeah.
oh
Or just like the
man.
sunglasses like descend from the ceiling.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be a fun story to follow the rest of the year. And I mean, I'm
I
loving the
I
Steelers right now. I'm
I
loving.
do I do enjoy the Steelers. I think and I like Pittsburgh too. I think that, it's a blue collar town. I mean, they're really passionate fan base. They've had a lot of success throughout the years. I mean, it's the winningest franchise in the NFL. Um Actually, I think the Patriots tied them with their last Super Bowl. But yeah, like a lot of great history, a lot of just the best players. Hall of Fame is just patched with black and gold, and so like I like seeing this team succeed. And I really do like Mike Tomlin as a coach. Dude is he's a true student of the game. So good job, Steelers. Russell Wilson, he's a lot less cringy with this team than he was with the Broncos. So speaking of cringe.